Could anyone have imagined before October 7th that Israel could kill over 50,000 people, 70% of them civilians, with total impunity? So in that sense, one extreme measure legitimizes an even more extreme measure. And it is possible, because probably the numbers are much higher than that the numbers will keep growing, that people will try to leave. They're banking probably on a humanitarian disaster. There's a lot of pressure in Israel from the right not to supply Palestinians with anything, and that there will be a combination of decimation of the population, flight of the population, and then Israeli control over whatever is left there. I think it will be a complete disaster. It'll be disaster. It already is. The kind of stain that will remain now for generations to come on Israel and what he did, and on future generations of Israelis who will have to bear the responsibility for what was done in their name by their parents, by their children, won't go away. But the inability of Israeli policymakers, of Europeans and of Americans to understand that one must change this paradigm, and that every day that passes makes this more and more horrific. What may happen is that Israel will become a full-blown apartheid state. It's already constructed an apartheid regime in the West Bank, which is becoming increasingly violent, and it may potentially succeed in doing that in Gaza, finding some kind of local authority that will manage things under the thumb of the IDF. I think that it will mean that in the long run, Israel will become a pariah state. Its Western allies will no longer be able to speak about it, as they still do, ironically, as the only democracy in the Middle East, of the IDF as being the most moral army in the world. I mean, it won't be possible to say any of that. It will become a de jure apartheid state. And even Jewish communities around the world will increasingly want to distance themselves from that state, which will be also a main trigger for growing anti-Semitism around the world. And so I don't think it's viable in the long run, but that long run can be a decade or two. And there's no vision anywhere. I mean, people who speak about this like me are seen as, anti-Israeli, anti-Zionist, anti-Semitic, whatever, instead of saying we need to come up with a different vision. We need to find a way for these two groups to share that space. There is no other solution, and not share it in an apartheid situation, but share it with equality and dignity for everyone. It's possible. And I think the majority of people on the ground actually would want to have it, but they have no political leadership, no intellectual leadership. And the West, in the name of protecting Israel, has betrayed it. Everything that Israel was supposed to stand for as the answer to what happened to the Jews in World War II. And it's allowing it to destroy itself by just standing by and saying, well, we can't do anything about that because of our own guilt about what happened in the Holocaust. The most tragic thing is that the Holocaust is being used as a license for genocide. To think that at the end of World War II, an entire regime of international law was created with the hope that it would prevent anything like that from happening again. This was the never again notion. Now, of course, there were many genocides after World War II, but this at least was the idea of creating a framework to somehow be able to adjudicate, prevent, and punish cases of inhumanity on this scale. And that now Israel has not only used this argument that Hamas were the new Nazis and that what happened on October 7th was just like the Holocaust, and therefore it gives Israel a license to get away with murder, but also in the process of doing that, it is dismantling the very international legal edifice that was created after 1945. So this is not only an issue of what will happen between Israel and the Palestinians, it's destroying the international legal humanitarian order. And there's no reason why other rogue states will not say now, well, if the Israelis could get away with it, why should we pay any attention to any of that? And the countries that established that, Germany, Britain, France, the US, are standing by and doing nothing.